Before you buy Star Wars deck building, the Clone Wars, we're talking about the mechanics, we're going to be talking about the changes, and we're going to be talking about whether or not you personally should buy it. Per usual, if you like what we do, go to the description of this video, go to our Kickstarter that's launching in beginning of November, and go ahead and support everything we do here at Gaming Caravan, doing free events in Florida, Central Florida, running conventions, and doing board game content for all of you. So, let's talk about Star Wars Clone Wars deck building. At its core, the Star Wars deck building, it doesn't seem too crazy. You know, you play a card, you get your resources, you get your damage, you send it off, you buy cards, and then you activate abilities if you have any, then you end your turn. At its core, it doesn't seem too different, but there's a lot of mechanics that come into play and make this an entirely unique experience and one of my top 5 deck builders of all time. You want to see the video, go and click anywhere right here, you'll be able to see my top 5 deck builders, and it's up there. I don't remember what number, but I know it's top 5. So just like all the other deck builders, you know, have 10 cards in your deck to start, play 5 cards, do that stuff, build your deck, beat your opponent, win. But there are 3 primary mechanics that change how it's played overall. This isn't necessarily a mechanic, but the first thing that's pretty cool is, you know, the Star Wars IP. You don't have to like the Star Wars IP, I want to say that right now. Some games you have to be involved in the IP to enjoy fully, like the Pokemon Splendor game. This game, you don't have to care about Star Wars even a little bit. You can completely come in blind, not know anything about the Republic, the Separatists, the good side, dark side, Force, whatever it might be. It helps, but you don't need to know in any regard whatsoever. Because the first mechanic that I have to say that made this a unique deck builder is the Force Tracker. The Force Tracker, think of it as a tug of war mini game. It's not a currency of any kind. It's literally like, there's 7 spaces on the board, 3 on your side, 3 on your opponent's side, 1 in the middle. And if it's on your side, the Force is with you. That means that you have a bunch of abilities on your cards that say, like, if the Force is with you, do this. Sometimes that's your entire ability. Sometimes it says, like, draw 2 cards. If the Force is with you, draw 1 more card, which could completely change the game overall. It really does matter if the Force is with you. And additionally, if it's all the way on your side, on your farthest space from your opponent, you get 1 credit at the start of your turn. So if you start your turn with it there, you get 1 credit, which is pretty nice. Another mechanic I think is pretty cool, that any game can do this, but most of them choose not to, is your ability isn't activated upon being played. Now, some games that matters for this, sometimes the cards are just for the abilities. In games like DC deck building, I can understand kind of why it's not that. They didn't want to add a bunch of power tokens in there. But in this game, Star Wars deck building, when you play the card, you get the credits on the card, you get the force on the card, you get the power on the card immediately. That is pretty cool. However, you don't have to use the ability. This allows for different chaining opportunities and stuff like that. You can use an ability on 1 card on the field before using the ability on another card on the field. You can play a card without having that ability trigger, play another card with the resources you just got to trigger that ability, retroactively trigger the other ability, and blah, blah, blah. The way you tell which card's played in the rulebook, it says tap your cards. So like basically you put it at like almost like on the corner instead of anything else. Don't rotate it, anything like that. But just turn your card slightly to show that it's been played. Or it's been activated the ability, which is pretty nice, because on play is when you get the credits and the rewards and the force and all that stuff. It allows for more chaining opportunities. It's not nearly as cumbersome to track, like, oh, I shouldn't play this card yet, or should I play this card, or should I not play this card yet? You have a lot more freedom to play your cards. It still matters what order they go down in, but it matters less in terms of restrictions. The next mechanic that's pretty dope is their win system or their point system. Essentially, you each have a stack of 10 bases thematic with the side you choose. In the base game, you know, in Star Wars deck building, the base game, it is just the Empire versus the Rebels. But in the Clone Wars, it is the Republic versus the Separatists, just like in the prequel movies. You have 10 planets, each specific to your faction. You can't cross planets in any regard. So you both start with the same planet. It's just no ability on it, 8 HP. Or whenever that planet gets blown up, they can't attack you the rest of that turn. And you choose a new ability to activate on your turn, a new planet, and each planet has a unique HP and a unique ability. Some allow you to draw extra cards, some allow you to get extra power, some allows you to just buy a card immediately. As long as the planet's in effect, you have the ability. Sometimes it's just a one-time use with like high HP, low HP. It really depends on the situation, which allows for really cool expandable replayability, because depending on what strategy you need right then, right there, or if you have a lot of gray neutral cards in your deck, you can play a base that says like draw 1 card every time, or for the first neutral card you play in your turn, which essentially just consistently lets you have 6 cards instead of 5, which is pretty dope. It really depends on what strategy you're going for, and there's a lot of different strategies you can go in this game no matter what faction you are. The last mechanic that sets this game apart significantly is the bounty system. The bounty system was what made me fall in love with this game on the Teach alone, and whenever I used it, it really lives up to the hype. I love this bounty system. It's called something else in the game. I call it the bounty system, and I think it is technically bounty when you play as the bad guys, which I always do because my wife always wants to be the good guys. You'll see here in Olayla, the bounty system is essentially whenever you draw cards in the Galaxy Row is where you buy the cards from the game, the neutral zone for both players essentially. You tilt the card to whoever can buy it, because you can't cross factions. It doesn't make sense for General Grievous to be on the same side as Obi-Wan Kenobi, even though it's like a fantasy game. They want to really stick with the fact that this is your faction, this is who you can buy. So if it's your color, for Separatists is blue, for the Republic and Rebels it's red. No one knows why, we just accept it and we move on. You face it towards a person who can buy it because they want to read their abilities and the cost and all that stuff. However, facing the other person, is the reward for killing it. Essentially, if the person wants to buy it to add to their deck, they pay credits. But if you want to destroy it before they put it in their deck, essentially on your turn, instead of throwing the damage straight to their face or straight to their planet, you're able to throw the damage to that character and then get the reward for killing the character. So basically, instead of just preventing them from gaining a card on their turn, you actually get rewarded in various ways. So it's a whole different strategy, like, well, should I hit them in the face now? Should I do this for the ability? Do I need more credits? Do I need more this and that? And that allows you to get more cards in your turn, allows you to get more credits, allows you to exile cards from your deck, which means just discarding and destroying them from the game. It's pretty dope. It's a really cool system, and it matters more in Star Wars Clone Wars than it does in Star Wars deck building, which we'll get into right now. We just talked about the primary mechanics of Star Wars deck building, but now let's talk about the specifics to Star Wars The Clone Wars. If you played the base game, you knew everything we just talked about, but Star Wars Clone Wars has some specific differences that matter a lot and justifies buying this like $40 game at its price point. In the original Star Wars deck building, each faction did have a specific strategy they wanted you to go for, but again, you never had to. If you were the Rebels, essentially they wanted to allow you to discard cards from your opponent. So by playing this card, you can make them discard one card, make them discard another card, and now that you're bad, even though you're super strong, you only have like 2 or 3 cards in your deck, or 2 or 3 cards in your hand, so you do a lot less damage than you would have done. And then for the Empire, what they want you to do is basically gain the Force and hit them really, really hard. Since you don't start with the Force on your side or anywhere near you if you are the Empire, or if you're evil in either form of the game, you do go first, which is pretty nice. Essentially, they want you to drag that Force tracker to your side, control it as much as you can, even though you had less things to control it with in the Force, and then hit them in the face as hard as you possibly can, as many times as you can. And Clone Wars, it's a lot more fine, a lot more resolved. Because even the base game, the cards didn't really specifically show too much with that strategy. There's not too much on either side for going down your classes or your faction's specific goal or strategy they want you to go down. And Clone Wars is a lot more open-ended and a lot more interesting. If you're the Republic, you're fully able to control what cards you draw. You're able to buy cards, put at the top of your deck, play other cards to draw a card, or like say like if you know it's going to be a Jedi, you're able to play a card that says flip the card. If it's a Jedi, draw it. If not, destroy it. So you're able to control what cards you draw in that game a lot more than you are in any other deck builder I personally know. And then for the Separatists, what they want you to do is essentially if you discard other Separatist cards by sacrificing other Separatist cards and by destroying the droid cards, which again, I love how thematic this game is. They did a great job nailing down the thematics of Star Wars. For the prequels for the Clone Wars universe. But anyways, if you're able to destroy and exile cards from the Galaxy Row from your Separatist faction, or destroy droids from your deck that you've already purchased, you're able to do extra abilities. So at the cost of cards in your deck, you're able to trigger even more abilities, like draw an extra card, gain 4 more power, and then also other cards will say, like, if you've exiled something this turn, get this. So essentially, as long as you're able to consistently exile, you do have to watch out because there are limited cards inside the game for you, but there are more ways to buy from both the Galaxy discard deck as well as the Exile deck. Now each player actually has their Exile deck in this game, which is unique and was not in the first game, because Exiled means completely gone from the game. But in this game, it really does matter whether or not you have cards in your Exile deck, because then you're able to purchase cards from your Exile deck, or purchase cards from your discard, put them back in your hand, and use them again and again and chain it like that. It's a very interesting system. There's a lot of strategies you can use for either factions, and then the planets are pretty open-ended to whatever strategy you want to go down. You can create your own strategy. You can go by what they want you to do. You can go by the neutral card system, because of course, if you use bounty hunters in this game whatsoever, they are neutral. They're for whoever has money. So if you buy them, they're on your side now officially. And you cannot hunt them unless you have a very specific ability that allows you to hunt them or bounty hunt them. Let's talk about whether or not Star Wars deck building and Star Wars Clone Wars deck building is for you. I've heard nothing but good things from people. I've loved this series from the beginning, from its inception essentially. I love deck builders. I don't really care for 2-player games, but this one is an exception 100%. The few people I know who don't like this game say they don't like the combat in the game just because they don't like combat in general. I've never heard anyone who specifically dislikes how this combat operates. And then Clone Wars is a little bit more tactical, so if you want something more simple, less refined, more very basic deck builder, go ahead and buy Star Wars deck building, the base game. But if you want to buy something that has more precision to it, more accuracy, more dedication, more strategy overall, you should go with Star Wars Clone Wars deck building. Again, you don't need to care about the Star Wars IP even a little bit to enjoy either of these games. You can buy it just for the deck building sake or just to give a good game a chance. There are different modes to play, even though I would not suggest it whatsoever, because you do not do anything off your turn in Star Wars deck building. So when you play this game in the co-op version or the team version, you buy two sets, or you buy both sets or two of the same set, combine them, and now you have two good and two evil against each other, and whoever's last man standing. There's a few other ways you can play. You can play the base game if you have. You can still play a two-player game if you combine the two sets, which is pretty dope. I actually enjoy that a lot. From the conception, I haven't actually played that yet, but it seems really cool. Seems very interesting. And I would never combine two of the exact same set together like it wants you to, just because it seems like hell to actually unpack it and like undo it. Like, oh, what card goes here? What card goes there? Just because there's duplicates of some cards and there's singles of other cards, you don't really know what's what, and it's just obnoxious to try to go through. But overall, buy this game if you like combat, if you like deck building, if you like Star Wars, and stay away if you do not enjoy combat, and if you don't want those feel bad moments, because there are a few potential feel bad moments of like, I can finally buy General Grievous on my turn, and suddenly Obi-Wan jumps in, kills him before you can even purchase him. It sucks, but there's still ways around that. But at that direct moment, it does suck and could affect your entire strategy for that turn. Well, that's everything. Thank you for watching. Please make sure to subscribe and comment if you enjoy Star Wars deck building and whether or not you enjoy Star Wars Clone Wars deck building. I'm interested to hear what you guys think. But overall, that's everything for today. Peace, have a great day. God bless. I will catch y'all later. If you're local to Florida, make sure to join our local gaming groups. Or if you just want to join our gaming groups in general, go to the description of this website, join our Discord, join our Facebook group, and join a bunch of other things. But I'm excited to see you guys at a table soon. Peace, have a great day. God bless. I will catch y'all soon.